Welcome to another episode of Alex and Annie, the Real Women of Vacation Rentals. I'm your host, Alex.
And I'm Annie.
And we are so excited today. We've got another amazing guest. And I know we say that all the guests are amazing, but this is one that I think Annie and I are very excited to talk to. There's just a lot of great stories to unravel. Miss Julie Byrd coming to us all the way from California, who is COO for Cabo Villas. Julie, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to do this with you girls today.
Yeah, awesome.
We appreciate you. So, Julie, I thought to get started, there's some people that might not know you. I think a lot of people do know you. But if you would just take the opportunity to let us know about who Julie Byrd is and maybe a little bit about Cabo Villas.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am the COO, as Alex said, of CaboVillas.com, and we specialize in private luxury villas in Los Cabos. We also offer hotel accommodations and so the full vacation experience there, not only just the vacation rentals, but we are also more of like a travel company. The interesting thing about our company is that we don't actually do property management. We are a rental firm, so we handle the clients' requests and we handle their stay and we do all of their on-the-ground concierge services, but we don't actually handle the housekeeping and all the other items that go along with property management. They do have those property managers in Los Cabos to take care of the houses. I've been with the company for 20 years next week. Walked into the doors selling them an ad from a local newspaper. I was taking a little break from the travel industry and met Don Hirschaut and started working for him, and that's been 20 years. So we've had a fun career together, and I really love the destination of Los Cabos, and I'm excited to see where the company's going to go.
Well, congratulations. That's a big milestone to hit for anybody in this industry. 20 years. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's been a fun 20 years. That's for sure. We've seen a lot of differences, and we've, gone up and down with Los Cabos and how their sales go and how their occupancies go. Our company kind of just goes along with it. We have 30 employees here in the United States, and we have about 8 in Los Cabos to handle the clients when they get there for just this single destination of Los Cabos. So that kind of tells you a little bit about our volume.
Wow, that's incredible. Now, Julie, I didn't know that you didn't do any property management, boots on the ground down there. That's really interesting. So you are, I know there's the hybrid OTA PM model, but there's some properties that you just totally book for that you don't do anything else with them. But then the ones that are a little bit more closely intertwined to your program, explain to me how that works. If you're not doing the housekeeping, but you're setting up their stay and doing the concierge type things. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the owners, they hire their own property managers. Our concierge do kind of moonlight as property managers, so they do handle some of the houses, the maintenance and the housekeeping and all of that. We hold the property managers obviously accountable. If they don't take care of the houses, then we will go in and make sure that the houses are up to the par for our clients. We do inspections of the houses regularly. We do an inspection before the clients arrive. We liaison between the clients and the property manager to make sure that the housekeeper's there for the days that they need to be there, and make sure that we can fulfill all the promises that we've made on behalf of the owner and the property manager.
Gotcha. So the property managers that you have in market, are they individual owners or do you work with other companies down there?
A little bit of both. We have some that are professional companies and some that are individuals, and we will guide the owners on who to hire as a property manager so that we can have a really good working relationship, because that's really, really important. And we've maintained those relationships with the outside property managers, so the professional ones and the individuals, to make sure that they are taking care of our houses.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah. So what the way that I first heard about your company is actually kind of an interesting story. And I know I've shared this with you a little bit, but this is going back probably 3 years ago that one of my connections that was a mutual connection, Ed St. Ange from FlipDo, I remember he called me and he said, there's this company, Alex, that it's called Cabo Villas, and they're very similar to you and what Condo World has going on between, booking their own properties and then booking for other properties. And they're trying to figure out what they want to do for a software solution. And I just think you ought to talk to them because you guys are going to speak the same language. And I had the pleasure of talking to Don and Rick at that time. And we just had the greatest conversation that was like all the problems in the world. We all related to and totally, could just, just explain in the terms that make the most sense to us how challenging it is to wear those different hats. But I think it's interesting what you've done there. And I think the collaboration side is really where the industry is going. And it makes sense, right? I mean, you don't need to have all the inventory on your platform or under your program, but it does make sense to work with other like-minded properties that see the value in what Cabo Villas does and how you market and your wide net of guests. So it's a great model. And I think it's very interesting to hear more about it.
Yeah, so
yeah, I mean, the one fun thing is that, there's that one side of the property management and the private rentals, and then there's the other side of the hotel inventory, and we work with all the local hotels. So it kind of gives us that nice blend where we can't find something for a client. Like right now, we are completely sold out for New Year's week. I mean, everything is sold out in Cabo, but we can dig in and try to find like larger suites at hotels. The hotels find us as being a little, their company that they work with that sells the larger units and the bigger suites, because we cross sell from the resorts to the villas and from the villas back to the resorts.
how do you guys, out of curiosity, just from not being a manager, but being more of the OTA, how are you guys reaching the guests or the clients that you are working with? Is it a very boutique style marketing that you do, or do you do traditional marketing through outside of just channels, SEO, website? Like, how are you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, we used to, it's interesting that our founder, Don, it was really important to him to do these vacation guides, and they were these big, glossy, beautiful guides, and we had to produce them every year, and we had to get the owners on board because we charged them for their page, and we distributed like 100,000 a year, and so we would have them in, specific.
Still do them.
Oh, you still have it.
Alex still does hers.
Really, I'm working on this year's edition right now. So.
You know what? We don't do it anymore. We stopped doing it last year, but
just last year. Wow.
Just last year, it was, it was his baby. It was when we looked at the production and when we looked at the results that we got from it, I think that it was really good at building our business back when people kind of grabbed magazines. We kept seeing that we weren't going through them, and then we would find them in piñatas in Cabo. And,
oh my God.
So we stopped doing it, but that was kind of the start of our outreach to guests in a different way besides just digitally. We put a little bit more of those resources into SEO and traditional marketing, but of course we are members of the Los Cabos Tourism Board. We go to all of their functions. We, we are a travel company, and we work with the hotels, and so we will, cross market with the hotels as well, and try to just. It is really interesting because a lot of our web traffic does come into our site looking for hotels, but the majority of our business is private homes. So, that is a marketing channel that we do use.
Yeah. And I mean, really, that's kind of how vacation rentals has just exploded in the last couple of years, that people might come in and they search for Myrtle Beach hotels, but then they start to see the condos and the beach homes, and they realize, God, you can get one condo for the price of, you have to get multiple hotel rooms, and it's so much better of a value, and the experience that you get of being able to have that shared space is just incredible. But I love that you call yourself a travel company too. I mean, really, because that's what we all are. I mean, we're same thing, very involved with our local tourism boards and CVB and DMO. And that's what it is. I mean, it's not just what we are all selling at the end of the day. We're travel companies that we work within our own destinations and others, to really just promoting travel as a whole. So.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that, is always high maintenance. It's a hard thing to do, but one thing that really makes our company stand out is that we provide full detailed itineraries for clients.
Yeah.
I just recently came back from vacation. I went down there to celebrate my 20-year anniversary and my 50th birthday.
Yeah.
And I took 25 of my friends, and a lot of them haven't been, and I invited their kids, and we experienced destination the way that our guests do. And so I was able to, really live what we do for a living, right? And we did the camel rides, and we did the dolphins, and we went ATVing, and they went fishing and on a yacht, and had groceries delivered, and had the chef come in, and had in-villa massages. And that is really what our company does so well, is to be able to curate these itineraries that are very specific to what the clients are looking for. So that's a fun part of the job as well.
Yeah. And that really gives that hands-on experience that I don't think that I haven't seen many companies, if any, that really do it with as much gusto as your company does. I mean, that's definitely at the heart of what you do. How do you form those relationships with the attractions and the different vendors that you work with?
Yeah, it's just we've been in Los Cabos for over 30 years, so we have really deep roots there. Like one of the guides that we use, who's absolutely so amazing, his name is Oscar. He was best friends with Don, and he and Don used to go out to the Sea of Cortez and go scuba diving for a week on a liveaboard, or take a Zodiac from La Paz to Loreto and camp along the way. I mean, they did these great adventures, and so Oscar's been a great resource for us. So when we have like really VIP clients that want to do something that's super unique, we send them out with Oscar, and he creates some incredible experience for them. But that's kind of how our roots started. Is Don went to the destination, and he loved all the activities. He was an adventure person, and he would go diving and snorkeling, and he was out there doing surf lessons to find a new surf instructor, all of those things that he loved. It was the heart of what he fell in love with in Los Cabos. So we've just been curating those relationships for so long. We have some incredible partners in the destination. We have another gal, Julianne, who she owns the company that provides all of our concierge services. They aren't actually employees of ours, they're employees of hers. And she also owns a catering company. And she's just an incredible partner we've been with for 15 years. And, she's family to us.
Yeah. So is it a requirement that people like book services with you, or can someone just come in and rent a unit outright? And if they want to take care of everything themselves?
They can, definitely.
Yeah.
Some of our houses will say that they won't allow outside caterers because they are worried about the liability of that. Or their kitchen's not being well cared for. So some of our houses, some of our more luxury houses, have specific caterers that they want to work with, or their own team. We will work with the owners if they have someone who cooks. Like we have one luxury house that's 10 bedrooms, and they have a staff of 6, and they're excellent cooks, and the owners have trained them with a specific menu, and they don't let outside caterers come in at all. And so we promote the property for that. They pay direct for that. It's not something, all of these concierge services aren't something that we do to make money. We do it to provide service to our clients and to provide a really unique vacation experience, so that when they are ready to go back, they want to come back to us. It is, we will work specifically with the houses on what their rules are. And if the clients just have they want to do their own thing, they can totally do their own thing for most of our houses.
Yeah. So I would imagine, given the location of Cabo to Los Angeles, you probably get some celebrity guests that have interesting requests. So like, out of curiosity, like what is the weirdest request you've ever had?
The weirdest request we ever had was to paint the front door because the artist did not like the color of the front door.
Oh my gosh.
He actually wanted it red.
At the front door.
Right?
Yeah.
That same celebrity client, we did bring in trees for the backyard and
Oh my
plant.
gosh.
So we had to bring a big truck with these big, huge trees because they couldn't be like, they're going to grow really fast.
Right.
Because he wanted some more privacy. It was like oceanfront. So we had to we did that.
That just shows the lengths that you guys will go to make your guests comfortable and make their experience what they're looking for. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow. That's incredible.
We are so blessed to have some of the clients that we've had. They're great.
I've got a couple questions. First, what is your percentage of repeat guests?
Vacation rental software makes it
really it's hard to
Can you get that number from your system?
Yeah, I can actually. And it's funny because we were just talking about this. Annie and I just got back from the women's conference, and I was asking someone, and they asked me the same question back. And that's actually, of all the things that can be hard to pull, that's one of the easier things to figure out, believe it or not.
In what system is this?
Our own. So
they built their own. Yeah.
Well, I will say that we give our clients a repeat client discount. So like basically, if they've stayed with us before and they review the property, they get a membership to our Amigo Travel Club, and that Amigo Travel Club will give them a 5% discount off of their next stay. So what I can say is, in the past, we've seen about 50% of our clients were Amigo Travel Club members. So we do know that was a big membership percentage. But this year, so many brand new clients. I would say that probably cut it. I mean, because our business
Yeah.
is up. I mean, just this month alone, we're probably going to have 40% increase in our arrivals
Wow.
just this month. So
Yeah.
it's pretty insane the amount of business we've had this year. That it's brand new business, and
Yeah.
that's because the rest of the world is, not as open as Los Cabos or safe to travel to.
Right.
Is that
Is your business online or over the phone?
yeah.
All of the above.
All the above. Yeah.
Yeah, that percentage hasn't really changed. The online reservations haven't. I think that I would have thought that we would get more call center percentages
Yeah.
through COVID because people would want to ask more questions, but it's remained the same, the percentage of business that we get as online reservations versus call center.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Has your numbers recovered back to, well, I think everybody's numbers recovered. And so the 40% new, is that over 2019?
Yes.
Or, okay. Yeah. So you,
Actually, it's over our best December ever.
oh, okay.
That's what's so crazy.
Yeah. And are most of the people coming, are they US, or are you still I mean, I know, again, kind of to COVID, it's caused still some travel hiccups, but the vast majority of our American travelers.
Yes, the vast majority are American travelers for
Yeah.
sure. Although, now that Canada kind of has less restrictions, we've seen some more business from Canada. Canadians were dying to go to Cabo because that's a big destination for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just in Cabo earlier this year in March, and that was the first vacation we had gone on in, the last probably 14 months or so. And it was wonderful. I love Cabo. That was where we went for our honeymoon. And I've been several times over the past decade. And it's a wonderful destination. It's my favorite place in Mexico to go.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it's a foodie paradise. It's like there's so
Yeah.
much food. I was just talking to a client yesterday because I found the perfect taco when I was there last time.
Oh,
Best
wow.
taco I ever had.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a cool place. Now, one thing that I'd like you to touch on a little bit more, I think your history of how you got started with Cabo Villas is really interesting. So you went in there to sell them newspapers, and which is funny
Well,
because
no,
that's
actually,
also,
it was like
that?
a little small, it was called the Times Publishing Group. It's like this small little free, it's not even a full newspaper. And I had left the travel industry. So I was working in traditional travel. So I worked for a company called Classic Vacations, and then I went to Happy Vacations. They're like wholesale companies
Yeah.
for hotels. And it's kind of like a hybrid of what we are right now, is where my career came from. And then I left the industry and I was like, I just want to do something different, and started working for a property manager locally here in Santa Cruz County. It was actually in Capitola that I was working as property manager. And then I was like, God, this is a hard job. I was like, phone calls in the middle of the night. Forget this either. So I was like, I just need to take a little break from the travel business and vacation rental business. I don't know what I want to do. And started just selling ads for this little local newspaper just to fill my time and kind of get my bearings and figure out where I wanted to go. And we were having a 41st Avenue special. It was like every business on 41st Avenue is going to have like a discount if they sign up this month. And so I just started cold calling every business on 41st and walked into Cabo Villas. And it was our Sea and Sky Vacations back then, which is our parent name. And I was like, gosh, I've been in the travel industry for so long. I mean, by then I had already had a full career in the industry. And I'd never heard of this company. Like, who are you guys? And walked out of there with a job, and I've worked here for 20 years. So,
That's awesome.
Dawn said, you have to start. I know you have a lot of experience, but you have to start at the starting level. You have to work in reservations. And I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
And I started seeing some things come through, and I was like, do you want me to write the response to customer service complaints? I have a lot of experience in that. Like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure you then kind of use that as a pathway and it was just kind of like ping pong, all the different things that you could do that they probably didn't even realize they hired when they got you, but that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, we're family for sure. And, we lost Don in 2019.
Yeah.
He passed away from a tragic skiing accident, and that was just such a shock. And then COVID happened, and we've had to kind of, maneuver this whole new world without him. And it's been a really interesting journey, and, we miss him every day.
Yeah. I'm grateful that I had that time, or there's a few phone calls that we had a few years ago to talk to him. Cause like I said, he's one of those people that he is very entrepreneurial and had a great sense of the industry and had that collaborative mindset that, knew there were creative ways to get things done. And just hearing about it again, there's so many similarities to how we operate here at Condo World. And it was, our CEO just passed away a couple months ago as well. And I had just talked to you, Julie, on the phone the Friday before Roy passed away, which was crazy because we were talking about Dawn and the similarities there. But I think Dawn was very much to you like how Roy was to me as a mentor over the years, which, that's when you have a mentor like that, it's a game changer for your career. And I'm sure you've learned a lot over the years from him. But can you share some lessons maybe that Dawn has taught you over the years that you still have put into place in your career today?
Yeah, absolutely. I used to walk into his office to kind of get some advice on a situation, and he would just shoot out questions at me, like in every direction. And so and it would kind of just jolt me at the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah.
And then so I really took a lot of time to prepare myself for any possible question that he could ask me before I walked into his office with a situation. And it really taught me to look at things from every perspective, to just like look at it from every direction and try to find the path of least resistance, right?
Yeah.
Best solution for everybody involved. And he really had a gift of doing that, and really giving you the tools to really research and really know everything from every direction, like not go in with any kind of half information. It's like, what are the facts? And that was really helpful to me in my career because I was a salesperson. So I'd be like, oh, well, we'll figure it out.
Right.
One thing I would tell him, and I think we taught each other this, was that he was always worried about the worst case scenario.
Yes.
Always worried about the worst case scenario. And I just kept on saying, all you're doing is putting it out there in the universe for it to happen. Stop it.
Oh, God. Honestly, Julie, I swear you and Dawn and me and Roy are like the same people.
No kidding.
But that's exactly how Roy was too, even to just coming down to the questions, like every morning going in his office. I mean, he always had a million questions, and they were always great questions, but he wasn't as focused on asking me the details on something. I mean, he'd ask the details, but he thought like I did, that we both loved sharing big ideas, but that he would always like have a different way of looking at it or come up with a different way to look at it to challenge me, I guess. And it was a worthwhile experience for the 12 years that we had him here, because, I do find myself thinking differently in situations and thinking, what would Roy say right now? Or what would he think? And I'm sure that happens to you at least on a daily or weekly basis still, even.
It does, but I'm going to tell you, his best friend, Oscar, who I talked about, that is our tour guide.
Yeah.
He said to me at his service, at his celebration of life, he said, I don't want you to always have to be like, what would Dawn do? Because you have good ideas too. And I'm just going to give you that bit of advice, because honestly, it's like, there are things that happened during the COVID that Dawn would have never done, that I had to do. Right. And it was, it was like changing our cancellation policy. I mean, he never would have done that. It would have been a fight for weeks and weeks and weeks. And so I really appreciated that advice that I got from Oscar, because I do think about what Dawn would do. And I think about all of the questions that he would ask me, so that I can really question myself and have all of the information before I make a decision.
Right.
And that, I think that, that there has a lot. It's great that I can think that what he would do, but I can also do what I think is right.
And, exactly. And I think
empowering for me.
For people like Dawn and Roy that were in the industry for so many years, there's a lot of things that were put in place years ago that stayed in place for a long time, probably longer than they needed to, right? And then, so it's unfortunately, it takes sometimes a shift like that for changes to come into a company, and some are good. We've at Condo World, Roy's grandson Ben is now president, and he's doing an amazing job, and he's put into place several different things that I don't think we would have thought of if it was just Roy running the ship. And Ben's an operator, has literally worked from the mailroom to reservations to maintenance to housekeeping. So he sees the spectrum of what we do from a different lens than what Roy did. Roy never actually did reservations or maintenance. So, it's just a different shift in leadership. But I think ultimately it comes down to that foundation that was set in the early days is of the principles of being a good business, right? And that's where we all continue to grow. But
Well, actually, Michelle, Dawn's widow,
mhm.
she was our CFO and she stepped into our CEO position. And I tell you, she is so fun to work with because she isn't as fearful. She's really she's excited to do new things, and she really likes to have things simplified. And
Yeah.
that to me is a lot of fun. I mean, we've changed since then. I mean, we've changed our cancellation policy. We've changed software systems. We now have
Yeah.
dynamic pricing. Where everybody's working remote. Our office is totally different. There's so many different things, and it's really exciting. And I like having this female leadership team. I mean, we do still have Rick,
Yeah.
but the rest of us are, we're a women-run company for the most part, and it's really fun to have that change.
Yeah.
Really enjoying the different challenges that she brings, because she also she runs with ideas. It's like when her and I meet once a week, we have ideas and we brainstorm. It's like the next thing I know, Rick's asking me, Michelle wants me to put this thing together. And I'm like,
yeah.
it's getting done.
That's exciting. That's awesome. That's
really great. There was one of the themes last week at the women's conference was about, and actually somebody just put a quote up, it says, the more you seek the uncomfortable, the more you will become comfortable. And it sounds to me like, I don't know, I never met Dawn, and I knew Roy on the periphery, but I've known Alex for several years. And there are so many similarities between you two. It's really fascinating, but both of those gentlemen prepared you for them being gone,
right.
Whether you knew it or not, the time was right. And that was just the way the universe worked out, but you were given all the tools and all the guidance, and you were prepared. And so I know from Alex's standpoint, Roy is as proud as he can be of everything that she's doing. So I'm sure that Dawn is of you as well.
Yeah. I go to bed at night knowing that he is.
That's a good feeling. That's a really good feeling.
Yeah.
One of the things that you said to me that was interesting on our last call, Julie, with the properties that you work with that are on your more hybrid OTA model, as we like to call it, that are the hotels that you book for, you used to use a connection. I don't know if it was through the GDS, but you used to get their rates digitally, right? Or electronically.
No, we never got them digitally, electronically.
Never were digital.
None of our computer systems have ever been able to talk to an extranet. We've always wanted to. That's why we actually talked to Condo World, was to figure out a way to get connected rates with the hotels, because we were competing with the OTAs for so long, and we were trying to manually. So we would get our rates from the hotels, our contract rates, and then they send us promotions. And so it would be like early booking bonuses, 20% off for travel dates of this and booking window of this. And so we would manually go in and update those rates. And we had a full-time person. That's all she did. She updated the rates all the time. So when we did the conversion over to Track, well, let me back up. We tried to keep up with the OTAs, and all we saw was our business going down and down and down, and business, because you can't compete with the OTAs. Just when you're trying to compete on price, you just can't, because they have the technology that really is easy to use, and it doesn't talk to vacation rental software. So unless you're going to, really get two systems and make that, a thing, then you've got to figure out a workaround. And so what we've always tried to do is keep up with them, keep up with the rates, and try to have the best price guarantee and all of that. And then when we were doing our conversion, my team came to me and said, I cannot keep up with the rates and load the new system. Something has to give. So she said, let's just take all the rates offline. So we did. We took all of the rates off our website. We took all the availability off our website. We eliminated the ability for people to make real-time reservations. We told our agents that they have to price the properties differently, that we weren't going to be maintaining the rates in our system or stop sells. And immediately we started getting all of these requests for rates on our website. So instead of having the rates on there, we had a request rates, which we do now still. And our business is tremendously up. We're getting
unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Every day we come in and we have so many requests, we can barely answer them all. I mean, we're really, we had to buff up our team so that we can answer all these inquiries, and they're now in our database, and they're now, it was a good move. And so now that we have the technology finished, we're not going to go back.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. It's almost
Yeah,
like
no
you've
kidding.
created this like illusion for guests that they don't know what the price is going to be. They would want to reach out to find out. It's the opposite of what we've all been working towards and trying to get rates synced and all the APIs and everything else. But
I mean, it just,
that's
it's doing what we do best, which is personalizing vacations
yes,
and
yeah,
helping people find the right vacation for them. I mean,
yeah,
these resort clients, they may request a resort that's in San Jose, all inclusive with a robust children's program, and they're going on their honeymoon.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
like, you don't
Yeah.
want to be there. You want
Yeah.
somebody who's going to help you
Right.
find the right property, even if it is just a hotel room or an all-inclusive
yeah.
hotel room. You need, that guidance isn't out there on Expedia or hotels.com or any of the
And that's definitely one of the challenges that you face, but it's also an opportunity the same way that we do. That when you have a lot of inventory on your site, it makes it easier to go and play the big pay-per-click game, right? Like to really go for the big marketing approach. But at the same time, you've got so much on your site that you've got to be able to drill guests down in the correct rabbit hole to find what they're looking for. We just spent the last 2 days training with Doug Kennedy, which was awesome. We had him come in and work with our staff. And that was always Roy's saying was, don't take a guest on a tour of the Grand Strand. I mean, don't tell them about 20 different properties. Like you want to really ask those questions up front so that the options that you give them are definitely, within a reasonable, close proximity of what they're interested in. So, from a website standpoint, there's ways to do that. And I think your team obviously is very honed in on, helping guests and making sure they get the right options. But that's harder for an Expedia or Vrbo or Airbnb to do, besides just offering great filters. That's one way that we all have an advantage, is to be able to offer that personal touch and concierge.
Yeah.
So, given everything that you've been through and your experience, what do you see as the biggest opportunity that lies ahead going into 2022 for you and Cabo Villas?
Well, I would say the biggest opportunity right now, we just went with beyond pricing. We just changed over to dynamic pricing, and we're seeing really, really great success with it. We have a mix in our inventory where some of our properties are exclusive to us. Some properties we share inventory with other property managers, and some we share the inventory with the owners who do their own thing as well. We do require rate parity, and we do require that we hold the calendar because we take online reservations, obviously. But the great opportunity for us is to move a lot of those non-exclusives into exclusivity, because we're only offering the dynamic pricing, obviously, to the exclusive properties. And we're seeing the ADR go up so tremendously. I mean, it's really taken hold. And I think that that's a really good opportunity for us to be able to grow our inventory, grow our exclusive inventory. And, now that we've got this new technology in, who knows where else you might see a Cabo Villas in a different destination someday.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. I love
Yeah.
that.
Oh my gosh, that's like I was begging Dawn for this for so many years. And so, we needed to get the technology. We were on V12 and it was good. And it had the V12 had a really great activities module.
Right.
It is the one thing I'm missing at Track, but we got another company that I happen to know this other travel person like me. He's a specialist in Greece, and he does the same thing that we do in Greece, really. And I met him through Wendy Perrin and Condé Nast Traveler, and he created a software, and we were able to write a connection between the two software so that we can use his activity software with Track, and they talk to each other in a really easy way. So when we book the activities, the full itinerary in the trip around system, as soon as we confirm it, it feeds it into Track so that we have the accounting all in one system. That's really the reason why we didn't want to invest in two separate systems for the resorts, is because you want to keep your accounting one system.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's really complicated if you don't.
Yeah.
And so we were able to, do that. So now that we have this technology that's really set up well, we can grow. I mean, Michelle's excited to talk about it, think about it, figure out where we want to go next. Whereas, it's one of those other new things, that having this kind of fresh blood with Michelle being our CEO, we can, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I think that's you've done so many wonderful things in such a relatively short amount of time, considering, but just, again, sky's the limit for you guys, and it's exciting. And so I will be happy to welcome you to the States or whatever markets you end up in. I think there's a lot of opportunity for you to grow. So
I think you don't have to worry too much about the States because we probably will stay with it tropicals kind of.
Right. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
We're like, we have to kind of be able to talk to the same clients. So, you know, when Cabo sold out, people say, Cabo sold out, but we have this.
Right. Exactly.
So,
Yeah. And it's, you
already
know,
I'm kind of, you know, we had our feet wet in Loretto and La Paz, and I'm going to kind of get my feet wet in those different areas. We've got this new property that we're developing, or one of our owners is developing out by the Four Seasons and Costa Palms. It's like out by the East Cape of Los Cabos. So you fly in the same airport, but it's a completely different vacation experience. And so we're excited to expand out to that area.
Yeah, it's
That's
a great
exciting.
growth strategy to do that. And you're approaching it from the right mindset, that it's like you leverage that inventory to, you know, get guests that you might not have been able to get before, and also offer your guests, if you don't have what they're looking for, an alternative, right? Because you obviously deliver on the experience to a very high level, that if you don't have anything for them in Cabo, but there's something in another part of Mexico, they want to know when they book there that they're going to have that similar experience to what they're accustomed to when they go to Cabo. And that's the same way that we've built our out of market partnerships, and the Panhandle where Annie is, and Gatlinburg and these other areas. And we're going to have your properties back on our site at some point here soon, I think, once we got our integration with Track finalized. But it's, you know, I think there's a lot of opportunity in our industry for more of those collaborative type partnerships, because we can either all give our money to Airbnb and VRBO, or we can try and harness it ourselves and grow our own brands, you know, within those efforts. And it's nice to see you guys are taking the latter there.
Definitely.
Well,
I think
so we want to wrap up with a couple questions.
Yeah. So Julie, we talked about this when we kind of did our pre-call with you. We like to throw questions out at you just to kind of, everybody has a different take on it. So I think, what is something for you is your biggest, one of the greatest accomplishments, either professionally or personally, that you hold on to and would, it's a guiding force for you?
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, up until this last year, I thought I had a lot of those guiding forces, right? That the big accomplishments, but nothing was as big as going through this COVID, going through the massive increase in business at the same time of changing software. And everything that we did this year was, I mean, we were working on short staff because, we were switching systems. So we didn't want to do a whole bunch of hiring, and we were getting more inquiries than we'd ever had in the history of our company. We were having greater success in sales that we'd ever had in the history of our company, and we were changing software systems. I mean, that is a huge accomplishment this last year. I had to be creative. I had to pivot when I needed to, and be able to have that flexibility to just make new decisions and change things and accept those changes. So I would say that 2021 was my biggest accomplishment, is to get through this year and have this new technology implemented in our system.
How long did the transition take to change software? I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, we started with the Track conversion, and then we were like, this was like at the end of 2020, and we were like, okay, we are getting a mass amount of business. We need to concentrate on that, and we don't want to take away from that by doing this because we kept kicking it down the curve. Like, okay, well, we'll do it in 6 months, or we'll do it. So then finally we were like, okay, we have no more. We can't do it anymore because we've got the V12 end of life. So we worked on it from January. We went live in June with Track, and then we went live in July with Trip Around, which is the activities software, and then we went live with Beyond just recently, 2 months ago. And so we've been working on it all year.
Yeah, it's like you have to just kind of dive in, I think, and V12 giving that deadline to everybody, it probably was a good thing, right? Because otherwise everybody would have stayed on it. But it's not, and credits to Track. They're a great group, and their software is top of the line. So glad to hear that you're happy. I mean, that would be the worst story if you said, I've spent all this time this year and I hate my software and we're gonna have to do it again next year. And that happens, but I'm glad that it's been a good experience for you.
Yeah, and just being able to instill confidence in my team that what we're doing and all these changes are for the better. And, that was also difficult building our team. And we were, building up some higher level management positions so that we could restructure our corporate, positions and kind of just get ourselves set up for the future. So it was a big accomplishment this year.
Yeah, for sure. So one other question for you. What is one memory that you wish you could relive over again?
You know what? It's like, again, 2021, man, it's been a big year for me. I just got back from this dream vacation
Oh
with my
yeah.
team. With my friends. And it was like my friends went, we had 25 of us, and we stayed in 3 different villas. So we did one villa for 3 nights, and then we moved over to 2 different villas for 5 nights. There was 25 of us. We did all of the activities. We really lived what we do for a living. And it was just such an incredible experience. This group of people that I brought together, they bonded in a new way. I mean, not all of them knew each other or were really close friends.
Yeah.
But we've spent a lot of time, and we created some deep connections, new deep connections, and we got to see Los Cabos. And then we had this, I don't know if you saw the blog post about my birthday party, but my
Yes.
team down in
It looks like a
Cabo,
lot
what
of
they
fun.
do down there,
Yeah.
there was flamenco dancers and fire dancers and mariachi and fireworks and delicious food and a dance floor with Cabo Julie on it. It was really
Bravo, Julie. I love
Cabo
that.
Julie.
I'm sure that's what they call you down there.
Yeah.
it is. You got to follow me on Instagram, have some fun.
Is it? Oh, that's so funny. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Well, what a great memory. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that you had a great year despite this being a crazy year for everybody too. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
It was a well-deserved vacation. We were down there for 2 weeks, and it's just, I want to hold on to it forever. They all want to go back for my next birthday. I was like, when I turn 60,
Yeah, exactly.
30-year anniversary at the company. And then I can do another trip for 25 people, because it was like back in my roots of like planning these itineraries, because
Sure.
that's where I started. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm a little rusty, gotta say,
Yeah.
but it turned out perfect.
That's probably only a birthday you really want to have once every decade, because it sounds like it was a pretty big blowout. So
Yes,
you probably needed a vacation from your vacation when you got back from that.
I actually didn't. It was really good. With the first week that we were there, it was just my partner and myself, and we were there for the VIP summit, the Los Cabos VIP summit. And so the tourism board took us out, wined and dined us, and it was just wonderful. We got to try some new food. That's where I found the best taco.
yeah.
And relax with my guy, and then the whole group got there, and it was great. We were pretty good together.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's great. Well, I think we're at the end, and just thank you so much, Julie, for taking some time out of your day to let us ask you questions and learn more about Cabo Villas. I've watched you guys for a couple of years, having worked with you a little bit, and it's just amazing. And I'm so happy for you. You clearly are in an amazing place in your life, professionally and personally, and you're thriving. And I think, again, one thing that we love about this industry is the passion of the people that are in it, and it's drives all of us every day to do the best that we can do. So thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so honored. I really follow both of you and just love everything that you do. And for this industry, it's really important and meaningful. So thank you guys for what you do.
No, thank you so much. I'll just add one thing to it. Annie and I have talked about, quite a bit on this show, the power of connection through LinkedIn. And that's, kind of how I first started hearing about you, Julie. I knew Dawn and Rick through the phone calls, but just watching you through there and seeing, what your conversations on things, you just seemed like such an interesting person. So I'm glad that we connected that way. And for anybody else out there, I think LinkedIn is such a wonderful tool to build your network. And, like Greg Fisher said on our last episode, your network is your net worth, right? And at the end of the day, this is such a collaborative, and it's a small industry, even though it's a big industry, but it's great to have people like you all the way on the West Coast that are experiencing such similar things to us here in Myrtle Beach. It's unbelievable. But thank you again for being with us today. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck for an amazing 2022.
Thank you. You too.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.